I asked 100 companies if they hire business analysts, and if so, how to get hired by that company. Here is what I learned. Hi, I'm Yuri Goman, a senior business analyst. Last week I attended We Are Developers, Europe's largest developer conference, which usually takes place in Berlin. In this video, I will share insights I gained from 100 companies during that event. I hope that this video will help you understand what employees want from you and help you get hired much faster if you are looking for a job right now. But first, what is We Are Developers and why did I go there? Well, We Are Developers is a huge event that brings together over 15,000 developers worldwide. It is a melting pot for thought leaders, for tech giants, startups, and engineers of all kinds. This conference is a hub for inspiration and learning, and if you visit, you will meet people from global companies from giants like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, or Atlassian. And of course, since it's in Germany, you'll see many local German companies like Audi DX, Deichmann, Deutsche Bank, Lufthansa, Mercedes, and many more. Now, here is the question: why did I go there if I'm not a developer myself? Well, the answer is the following. For those who have been following me for some time already, the big news is that I've moved to Germany. Obviously, now I have a lot of things to do here, including the fact that, well, I need contacts, new contacts, a professional network, and an understanding of the job market and things like that. And where do I get all those things? Correct? At events like We Are Developers or any kind of offline events. Luckily, thanks to all of you watching my videos, I qualify as press media, which allowed me to get a complimentary press pass to review this event. So thank you, I appreciate it, you made it possible. Nonetheless, I wanted to extract something useful not only for myself, but also for you guys. I approached as many companies as possible, and I asked them about business analyst positions in those companies and which skills companies require from candidates, and I wanted to share this information with you. Since the companies were mostly international, the video will be useful not only for business analysts in Germany, but all the business analysts in the world. This is where it becomes interesting. I spoke to 100 companies, on average like 5 to 6 minutes per company, which is huge actually, and during the course of 2 days. From those conversations, I basically derived some interesting statistics. For example, around 70% of companies do not hire business analysts at all. Why? Well, most of those companies are either technological startups or companies within specific niches. And the reason for not hiring business analysts basically because other roles in those companies include business analyst responsibilities. For example, developers do requirements and elicitation most of the time, or requirements and elicitations are done by project managers or product managers. And I couldn't say that's like a big shock. It's well known that product teams do not hire business analysts mostly. Nonetheless, this leaves us with around 30% of companies that hire business analysts, and I was lucky to land a single interview out of all those companies. Initially, my goal was to talk maybe to 5 or 10 of them to get different points of views, but unfortunately most companies didn't have like a media trained person. Translating this from corporate language, this means they had no one to talk to the public on record and not screw up the whole company. Yet, even with that one company who agreed actually, I had to anonymize the interview in the end. Anyway, here it goes.
So, well, it really depends, like from department to department within tech, yeah, it's different, let's say, job descriptions. But in general, it's like really about, understanding processes, then getting in touch with the stakeholders, gathering requirements, understanding the requirements, then translating them into technical requirements as well, and together with the teams, building solutions, essentially, bringing valuable solutions to the organization. I would say it's a combination of everything, to be honest. Of course, like the previous hands-on experience is like super important, but in general, as a company, we really pay attention to the personality as well. So when we're hiring people, we really want to have good environment for the people. To have like really good relationships within the organization and to have the right, I would say, soft skills, so personality traits, and also motivations, attitude, let's say, like to want to grow within the business. It's what is actually really important. I mean, technical skills you can always teach, like person can always learn. But when it comes to personality, it's like very difficult to teach someone how to behave, within a team. So I would say personality and like soft skills is even more important. So in the CV, this is like a tricky part, and in the CV, we're always looking for good CV. And like a good CV ideally is a one-page CV with experience of the last 3 years, for example, and good description, not just general stuff, but actually describing what did you do, what projects were you responsible for, like what was the role in the projects, all these kind of things. And then especially for us as recruiters, it's more about the first call. So it's like the rapport that we're building in the call, So it's about understanding each other, having also like a little bit of fun in the call, not just having very strict professional conversation, but getting to know the person on a more personal level as well. Exactly. And for me, this is like super important because if I speak to a person that I feel that personality perspective it wouldn't fit into the organization, most likely the person is not going to go ahead in the process. They're going to be like rejected. I would say sharing the same values that we have within the organization, and it's the first interview is like the most important with the hiring manager. So if you do well in the first interview, and if you have not just from technical perspective, but also connecting with the manager, job together, then most likely you will be, like moving ahead in the process. So the first interview is what makes, I would say, the most important impression also. And if this one goes well, most likely, the next ones are also going to be very good. But again, like we have tech teams that they like to spend time with each other, to have fun with each other, they joke, with each other. So it's really important to get this feeling also in the first interview that you can be with a team, not just when it comes to doing projects together or like having common tasks, but actually you can spend time with the team on a personal level as well, to getting to know each other on a more, not just professional environment, but outside of work as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Even though I recorded just one interview, I still talked to all of those companies, not on record, like privately. And there were a lot of things like common knowledge and general information that you can Google, so I won't bore you about that and won't just replicate what they said about business analyst role. Instead, I will share just unique things that I have learned and, well, they amazed me in a way. First, developers value the role and the person responsible for requirements, whatever this role is called. Almost everyone shared that they love the shielding effect the business analyst role provides. We communicate with stakeholders without letting stakeholders touch developers. Not only that, but we also structure the chaos and the flow of thoughts from stakeholders into something developers could understand, and they really value that. I mention this because in the past I felt like engineers did not appreciate enough what we did and acted condescendingly towards business analysts. So this feedback I received at the conference was completely different and I really loved it. I was humbled. Another topic we talked about was person skills first. Most companies stated that they would rather hire a less skilled but better fitting person in terms of personal characteristics than the other way around. I confirmed this as an ex-hiring manager myself. You can always teach the person all the hard skills you need, but if they do not know how to behave, this is a total disaster for the whole team. This is valid though, unless the company requires some specific skills that are unavoidable for that position. In this case, the company might put hard skills above everything else, especially if in a rush. The next thing was about age, but not in a way you might think. You may be too young actually to be hired for some jobs, mostly in consulting. This mainly stems from the fact that you work with sharks in consulting, with business owners and tough people in general. Without life experience, you will be run over once and again and you won't be able to do your job. While such a stance may feel like ageism, like backwards, I don't think that's what is happening actually. If I had to remember who I was 10 years ago, I would have been a fragile flower compared to today. Back then, quite a lot of things could upset me, unlike now. I'm sharing this because depending on the position and the company, you can be too young in your 20s, 30s, maybe in your 40s for some jobs. Unfortunately, there is no answer here on what to do with it. Only an insight and probably the fact that you have to accept it. At least now you are ready, and you can add another probable reason why you were rejected with your application to the job. Another thing that stunned me was how some companies count years of experience in the field. If you started working in your second year at the university and worked for 5 years, including your third, fourth, and fifth grade of education, the company will see you as an expert with just 2 years of experience. For some reason, they think that getting the whole experience while studying in the university is just impossible. So they just cut out those years from your experience. I'm not sure, I don't know if it's a European thing, because I never heard about it before. Quite a bizarre thing, actually. There was this another thing about cross-industry skills that are transferable. The conversation I had was about compliance and regulation knowledge. Often candidates think that if you have specific skills of specific law knowledge or regulation knowledge in healthcare, for example, it works only if you apply for positions in healthcare. But it's not. Such experience is desirable in all industries with strict regulations. Not exact laws, but common approaches, understanding of how stakeholders think, how government acts, etc. Now, I have another interview to share with you. I had a pleasure meeting Stan Bühne, the managing director of IRAP, one of the organizations in Germany that represents business analysis.
So from my perception, I'm not sure if there are specifics for Germany, being honest, because what I've experienced, business analysis or requirements engineering, the skills are more or less the same worldwide, because the issues and the problems that we have need to be covered. Doesn't matter if we are working in Germany, in India, or somewhere else in the US. And for me, I think one thing is made me specific because people are different, the behavior is different, the values maybe are different. This means how you drive things forward. This is maybe something what could be different, but I think in general, in the skill set, there's no real difference, at least not from my perspective. I think for the European market or for the German market, it's a lot of, let's say, being precise, being fast, and having this analytical skill set quite tough to have these people in this area that have, let's say, great solutions at the end, and they come up with some of this kind of, let's say, this kind of engineering skills that we are quite proud of and that many people in Europe or in Germany know. Well, when talking about the top 3 skills, I think one of the most important things for me is empathy. Because when working in requirements engineering or business analysis, it's people work. 80% of the work we are doing is people work. For sure, we all have our techniques and tools, whatever that we need, but we need to understand the fears of people, we need to understand the pains of people, we need to understand their goals and their needs, and that's why I think empathy is one of the top 3. Another thing is for sure being analytical and analytical thinking. For me, it's more a kind of, I would say, analytical consulting, because we have gained our experiences in several projects, and as a BA or requirements engineer, you should somehow consult also your stakeholders. So you're not a typist, so you should bring in your analytical thinking and thinking things through to the end. And I think analytical thinking or analytical consulting would be another big topic in this 3. One additional thing I think is having a more holistic mindset nowadays, because everything is getting more complex. We are now building solutions that are not only for people who are working in this area since years. We're now building solutions for each and everyone. Doesn't matter if there's a kid 6 years or a grandma 99 years. This means we have a broad spectrum of users, and that's what I think, where we have to have some more holistic thinking and a holistic mindset. Well, when looking to Germany for the job market, I think there is a market, but for sure every organization calls their roles and their professions somehow different. I have worked as a demand manager, as a solution designer, as a requirements engineer, as a business analyst, as a product owner, product manager, in different roles. But mostly doesn't matter of this role, the skill set that you need to cover, identifying the right stakeholders, identifying the needs, having a clear roadmap, creating, let's say, a shared understanding, analyzing conflicts and solving conflicts. These are skills that all of these roles need. Well, I think there are different aspects. As of now, our market situation for sure, as we see in automotive industry or in other industries, is going down a bit. But I think this is only half of the truth. The other half of the truth is probably AI is popping up each and everywhere. And I think many organizations somehow now in a mode, like when we came up to Agile, they're thinking of or rethinking each and every process. And because maybe some kind of management think AI is solving a lot of these issues that we have today in this area. My perception is it will not, because for sure we need to understand that AI is there and AI will not go anyhow. But we need to rethink our way of working, and I think AI will be a great supporter in future days. Also for business analysts or for requirements engineer, not sitting for a blank sheet of paper, just having some ideas, getting some kind of checklists, and I think this is also a way why a problem why organizations as of now are not really searching for so many people. So currently we have two, I think, quite interesting special interest groups in our area. One for sure, the hot topic AI. This topic is, this interest group is searching about how AI could support you as a business analyst or requirements engineer in your daily task, during elicitation, during documentation, during validation, or identifying leaks or conflicts within your requirements, but also for requirements management, like identifying impact of changes and all this stuff. So there's a group who is currently working on all these areas. And I think there's another super important topic nowadays, what's sustainability. And on this aspect of sustainability, we also have a special interest group working on this in this area and thinking about how we could create more sustainable products, more sustainable digital products, because many people do not think about that we need sustainability also in our digital solutions, but digital solutions also have power consumption. We need to think about accessibility, kind of social sustainability, and all these aspects. And I think they are important and we are working on it.
So, what is the key takeaway from everything I shared today? Well, to be honest, I do not understand still how the market works today. Everybody claims that they look for pretty much the same profile, and companies understand the business analyst job in the similar way. Yet I know at least 50-ish talented business analysts in Germany or outside who are looking for a job right now, but they cannot find it. They are failing in their search. I talk about all levels, from juniors to manager level. It's not like they have some huge gap in their skills. Their biggest problem is that they don't get any feedback from potential employees, and while both sides talk about it and wish for transparency, there is no such thing right now. And of course, I'm taking the candidate side right now, but I wish companies really did more on their side, something to help people realize what the right candidate should look like. Why? Well, because both sides are hurt. While experts may spend 9 to 12 months now to find a job, the same happens to the company, which cannot fit the position within half year or even longer. The only thing I can think of really right now is if professionals unite in a way and as a group approach companies together to initiate the conversation within their country. I'm not sure how to do this though, especially knowing that BA communities in most countries unfortunately are too small or even non-existent. If you have any thoughts on this matter, be bold and share your thoughts in comments. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and ring the bell to learn more about business analysis in the future, because I'm gonna share much more. Ta-ta for now!